Hey guys, and thanks for tuning in. We're on episode 3 here of my Pick Me Play Me series. For those of you who don't know, you guys of course pick a weapon, attachments, game mode, sidearm, the lot for me to play with, and the most popular one I pick and play with. It's that simple. In this episode I am fulfilling the request of Dreamman RJ, so we're using the Famas with the red dot side instead of a Cobra, because I don't have the Cobra, but that's not too much of a difference. We're using a Foregrip, flash suppressor, and the beastie Rex as my sidearm. And of course he requested TDM on Noshahr Canals, so that's exactly what we're doing. Now before I get into the setup, I do just want to cover something quickly. It's about my last video that I did on Pick Me Playing with the AN94. I got a little bit of stick in to a certain extent for using the weapon in full auto mode rather than burst fire. Burst fire on the AN94 of course has an accuracy advantage when it's used because of the way the gun's set up. You have an accuracy advantage, and because it's in burst fire, it actually fires at a faster rate of fire than using it in full auto. Now, I didn't mention that in the video, which I probably should have done. However, in these videos I will play with the weapon chosen, but it is of course my prerogative how I go about playing with them. And just because the weapon has a burst fire mode doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to use it. Personally, I have more enjoyment using the A94 on full auto. Regardless of the fact that it has an advantage for being on burst fire, I choose to use it on full auto and burst firing and single firing it myself. So that's exactly what I did. I just don't like using weapons on burst fire at all. I prefer the advantage of having it full auto, so I can full auto at close range if I need to, and manually burst fire and tap fire myself. That's just something that I prefer to do. So I'm just saying, each to their own. It depends on your playing style and what you prefer to do. But that aside, let's talk a little bit about the Famas that we're using in this video. I think the Famas is one of the weapons that was added later in the game via the Back to Karkan DLC. And the Famas has a rate of fire of a whopping 1,000 rounds per minute, making it, as far as I'm aware, the fastest firing rifle in the game. There are a couple of SMGs now that will equate to that sort of round per minute, but as an assault rifle, it's the fastest one in the game, basically dwarfing the AEK. Now, it does have some downsides though. It has a magazine of 25 bullets, which really is its weakest point, especially when you consider how fast it fires. The gun really does blast through those 25 bullets. Now, the Famas actually has one of the highest side-to-side recoils and the highest vertical recoils for the assault rifles in this game, which of course once again is made worse by the high rate of fire, because the recoil modifier in the game is calculated per round that you fire, so the faster it fires, the more recoil it's going to have, and it is noticeable with the Famas. The Famas does bounce around quite a bit, especially at range. The recoil of the weapon means that at range it's actually pretty useless. You can get a burst off at range, and of course you can get kills at range if you're burst firing, but it's quite hard to consistently get long range shots with the Famas. This weapon is far more beneficial at medium to close range, because at that distance you can get accurate groupings of shots, and at close range not many weapons, in fact very little at all, are going to drop you as fast as the Famas can. Now of course, as I said, I'm using the Foregrip on the Famas, and I believe me when I say to you, you do not want to be using this weapon without the Foregrip, as it'll become even less accurate and almost pointless to use. Just in my humble opinion. As I said, the side-to-side recoil of this weapon is massive, and having the Foregrip on there, that's the point of the Foregrip, to combat side-to-side recoil. By not having it on there, you're just having a far more bouncy weapon, but by having that Foregrip on there, it is going to combat some of that side-to-side recoil, and it gives you more of a fighting chance and a more accurate weapon than you would have had, certainly, without it. Now, I don't have this equipped, but if you wanted to, you could even put a laser sight on the weapon, and that makes it... Basically, it means you've not only got the fastest firing rifle, but you've also got a super accurate hip fire as well, making this weapon pretty much unbeatable in close range combat situations. To to give you an example, if you wanted to try this gun out, head over to some close quarters. You know, this gun is perfectly suited for close quarters. In fact, it's one of the best assault rifles to have on close quarters maps, because at close range you're a beast, almost unstoppable. You know, the rate of fire is just so high, and because those maps aren't that big, you've got a medium range where you can burst fire. You don't even have to have it on burst fire mode, like I haven't had it on burst fire mode this video. You can fire yourself and you know, in a burst fire motion, and it'll still be just as good. Maybe not as good, but it'll still be, you know, just as effective. To give you an idea though just how fast this gun fires, you can actually empty the entire Famas clip in just 1.5 seconds. So from starting to fire to emptying the clip, it's gone in 1.5 seconds. So in that time all your bullets are drained and you're going to have to reload or flick to your sidearm. Now when you pit that against another fact, which is the fact that the Famas has a reload time of a whopping 3.2 seconds, and that's if you have a bullet left in the chamber. If you don't have a bullet left in the chamber, it's 3.9 seconds. That is a massive, massive reload time. You know, you're emptying the clip in 1.5 seconds, but every time you empty it, you're then taking double that time, or over double that time, to actually reload the weapon. And that's one of the main downsides of this weapon. It really means that you've really got to pick your shots. You can't just you know, fire off some random bullets and then you know, hope to take out, you know, 2 or 3 people. You've really got to pick your shots with this, because if you start shooting at somebody, maybe you're a little bit you know, half-hearted about it, you miss a couple of shots, but maybe you get the kill in the end, but then somebody else comes around the corner, all of a sudden you're completely out of ammo. And then maybe another person comes around the corner. When you have maybe an M16, a couple of kills, a couple of shots is going to kill someone. It fires quite slow, so it's easier to control really how many bullets you're firing at a time. That's not too bad. But with the Famas, you hold the the mouse down for a second, and all of a sudden half the clip's been emptied before you even realise it. So you really do have to pick your shots. Reloading is something that obviously you're going to do quite a lot, but what you really want to be doing is flicking to your sidearm, and you're going to be flicking to your sidearm a lot. In fact, probably more than any other assault rifle, because when you're in a sticky situation, there just sometimes just isn't enough time. You know, almost 4 seconds, that is a long time to wait for a reload. You're going to find yourself really using your sidearm, so you want to make sure you've got a good sidearm. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I enjoyed playing with the Rex as much as I did, because you use it quite a lot, and it's such a beastly pistol. You know, I love the reload animation as well. It doesn't quite do as much damage as the Magnum, and probably isn't as satisfying as the Magnum, but it does fire a lot faster, and at close quarters this thing is a monster, and it's very, very accurate as well. Now on this gun I'm using the flash suppressor, and that really does help tame the recoil on the gun. You know, it's got a lot of vertical recoil. The flash suppressor does reduce that a little bit, but it does come at the cost of some added spread. So it really is a trade-off, and it goes back to what I was saying about the laser. It very much depends on how you're going to use this weapon. You know, I would say if you are planning on playing some close quarters maps, I would probably suggest using a laser. But if you're using it maybe on a medium size map, then potentially a flash suppressor would be better, or a heavy barrel as well. I mean, the heavy barrel is still very effective on this weapon. It's going to give you that added accuracy that you need at that medium range on your first bullet. So that's something to consider as well. All told though, you know, I had a lot of fun playing with this setup. It's quite easy just to go in and get a lot of kills with the Famas. You know, if you're running in on Noshahr Canals in the middle part of the map, just almost nothing can beat you. A shotgun, possibly, you know, like a Deo at close range, is going to do some damage to you, that's for sure. But in terms of assault rifles, not much is going to beat you. So yeah, this video was, you know, tons of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and of course, post in the comments on what you want to see in the next video. And I will see you on the next one. Cheers.